Hi, I'm Jimmy Halliday from Halliday Bellows. Now, there's not a lot of information about bellows out on the internet, so I thought I'd put together a few little helpful tips and tricks to keep them lasting for a long time. Now, my father started off repairing bellows as a leather worker and would constantly get the same repairs. And so he realized that by changing the design slightly and looking after them well, he could really improve the longevity of a pair of bellows. So this pair here was made around 1981. He gave them to his parents, and they've lasted without a repair all that time and still beautiful. So, to keep them like that, the main thing that you want to do is keep this leatherwork here, this gusset, supple. Now, the easiest way to do that is get a good leather dressing. So we use this one here, GY Leather Dressing, which is an Australian company. And you just work the dressing as per the instructions in around the leatherwork. Now, the main areas that take the strain are this bit here and in between the gussets there. They're the main moving parts. So if you really focus on them and just work the dressing in, be quite generous, it's not going to hurt, then leave that to sit for a while. So what that'll do is that'll slowly penetrate into the leather and keep it nice and happy. Now, once that's been sitting there for a while, you'll get an idea of if you see any dry patches, it's probably needing more. So keep working it in until you can leave it sitting for a while and it'll just be nice and glossy and looking happy and healthy. Now once that's done, once it's been sitting there for a while, you can just gently work it off. Now you're not trying to wipe it right out of the gussets and sort of brush it completely clean, because it'll keep working its way in there for a little bit. You just want to take off any big lumps and chunks of the dressing. Now it is worth noting that on the bellows we've got wood, metal and leather, and they all have their own ways of being cleaned, and it is a really good idea to try and keep the leather dressing on the leather, the wood wax just on the wood, and obviously if you're using something like Brasso on the brass nozzle, just to the brass. So once you've done the leather work on them, which you'll want to do, as often as possible, but ideally, as a minimum, at the start and end of every cold season. So as you take them out for the first time to get the winter fires going, good time to do it. And when you're about to put it back away and closing up the fire for the year, another great time to do it. But any time you see them getting dry is a really good time to do it as well. Now the woodwork is really up to you. So we use an oil and then a wax over the top. Now if there's any woodworkers out there who have a pair of bellows, obviously you treat them the way you want to. If you would like to work the wood back and do something different with it, by all means go for it. If however you're just wanting to maintain the look that we've created, all you want to do is just get a decent wax. Just pick a wax that's going to be easy to apply for you and just follow the instructions of that product, generally just working it nice small circular motions with a soft cloth over the face of the bellows, working your way all around, again trying to keep it off the leatherwork and metalwork as much as possible. Let that sit for a little while and grab another dry cloth, soft cloth, and just work that back, following the grain of the wood until you've got the look that you're after. Now the metal, so we use a solid brass nozzle. Like I said, you can just use a little bit of Brasso and work that off. Now my father, who started the Halliday Bellows, he had to, when he was a kid, do all of the brass work that they had in the house. So he's had to do a lot of polishing, and he's a firm believer that it's a good idea to leave the brass, to carry the story of every fire that's been lit by that pair of bellows, get going. So we're a big fan of letting them tell a story. But if you'd like to polish them up, by all means, just a soft cloth and some Brasso and work that on there and clean them up as much as you feel inclined to. Now the other obvious, hopefully obvious, way of looking after the life of your bellows is just to treat them with a bit of care. So we make them tough, which is why they last as long as they do. But there's a few little things that we often see that could shorten their lifespan considerably. So the first one is if you've got a friend who comes in who's a bit of a gym junkie and wants to show their strength, the bellows isn't the best thing for them to do that with. They're really efficient, just by their design, always have been, and you really don't need to put a lot of effort into making them work. So it's worth reminding people that they're a really efficient design before they grab hold of them and show off, and really don't need to be worked that hard. If you do put a lot of pressure on them, all it's really going to do is put extra pressure on the gusset and push that leather work out, which isn't the end of the world, but it doesn't look as great, and it is going to reduce the life of the bellows. The other area is we've got a couple of cane hoops that we run around inside the bellows just to keep the shape of the gussets. Now it's just a thin cane like this, so there's not a huge amount of strength there, and there doesn't need to be. That isn't springing the bellows open, it's just holding the shape. And it will continue to do that for a long, long time. However, they're a bit of a curiosity, and people love to play around with them and push on them for some reason. So if you see somebody going in for the push on the gusset, maybe just let them know what they're made out of. Because often people are just curious to know what's on the inside. So if you let them know it's just it's a thin cane, it should be absolutely fine. I hope that helps. And if there's any other information you'd like to know, more than happy to help. Just contact us through the website, hallidaybellows.com, and we'll see what we can do. Hope that helps. Cheers.